guys, Chris here. Today we've got the Ender 3 V3 SE and KE. Why have we got it here? Well, stick around and find out. We're going to dive in to has Creality brought in with us something new, or have they just reused some parts from other machines and given us a product to fill the gap? Stay tuned, stick around, let's find out. Alright guys, so starting with the SE. So what we've got here is we've got a new type of machine moulding. So we've got an injection moulding top housing. We've got this thin type Z-axis frame, upright frame tubing, where it's a thin, I would say 3 to 4 millimeter extrusion aluminium that tapers off the back. We've got a dual Z-axis tuned height rods here with a single belt. Now the belt on the back, which we'll pan around and have a look in a second, it doesn't have a tensioner on it that I can see. So you can just move it up and down and it sinks. There is only one Z motor on the back, which it's okay, but I would have liked to have seen two. It is a entry-level model, which I understand. They have gone with a injection molded plastic type base with lineal rods, which is a good addition to any entry-level printer. In Australia, the retail price on this one is currently going for around $329, $349 AUD. So it is relatively priced. You do get a smooth PEI flex sheet with belt-driven linear rods, like I said, and obviously you've got your ball bearing rollers for your X-axis as well. You've got a 420, I think it is, fan blower, just a single fan blower in there. And interestingly enough, what I've looked at is you'll see, I'll post a picture above right here. There is a spider type hot end in here, which you'll see on the picture. It's very similar to the Creality high flow spider hot end, I would say, for the S1 Pro, and they've popped that in on this one here, which is a good addition. I'm not sure the exact flow rate on that, but it does print quite well. Got some little benches here and some cubes and whatnot. There are no issues with the benches. I printed them basically with another sheet that I have. So at around 100, 150 millimeters a second on both, and not the 250 and the 500. Obvious reasons I wanted to get more quality and check out the stability of what they were printing at. We have the motor mount up here as well for the X-axis, and we have a pretty simple design really. We have to the side, we have a Type-C USB input and a full-size SD card slot, which is great instead of the old trans-flash micro SD card, which we all hate. I know a lot of people don't really use SD cards these days, they're sort of phasing them out. The Type-C input is a good addition, I do like that. I would have preferred to see a Type-C input and a USB, at least a 2.0 USB. That would have been great, but nonetheless, is what it is. We've still got the standard filament mount roller. It isn't a ball bearing mount roller, unfortunately. It's just a plastic interlock on a metal frame. The only part of this whole build itself, apart from the mechanical side of the actual build, is you've got the injection type plastic type mount top section and the actual base panel. Some people have mentioned that both the SE and the KE don't have a footing. On a previous video I watched, they were talking about that, but they actually do come with footing plates, and they have a metal, aluminium metal backing underplate with multiple ventilation areas. Both interchangeable between 110 and 240 volt or 230 volt, which is great. And that's the SE. We have an independent design here. You can see there's quite a bit of a difference here between the SE and the KE design on the extruders and the hot end system. I'll go into that in a little bit in a second. There is quite a significant difference. You know, like I said, this one's aimed at the beginner entry level. It's a great printer. It is a 220 by 250 build volume, so a little bit small, a little bit smaller than the K1 Speedy and the S1 Pro and so on. But at the same token, quite a lot faster than, say, for instance, some of the Creality lineup that they've got there that retail for $300-400 plus, upwards to $700-800. So that's a great little thing. The downside of this is you do get a Marlin software, which can be, if you want to, hooked up to a Sonic pad. There is, I'll go over that in a second. I'll show you that. We won't flash the firmware because it's too much of a headache, but I'm going to go into the system and I'm going to show you where it is. Here we've got the Sonic Pad, as you can see. You can see I've got the CR10 Smart Pro there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you that the Sonic Pad already has the firmware file for the SE, for those of you who already have it. So if we go into here, we click add. I've got it plugged in a USB schematic type 3 USB port on the back, so we'll choose that. Device has been added. We hit enter, go through enter series 3, and all the way down the end, we can see the Ender 3 V3 SE. So basically, guys, if you've already got a Sonic Pad, would you put this onto the SE? That's the question. Me personally, look, I think the Sonic Pad is a great addition to the SE, and I think the Sonic Pad is better than the Clipper version that you get with the KE. That said, the KE is still very good. Definitely the Sonic Pad has way more features, way more ability, AI integration, the camera, you can run and use the Nebula camera, which you can see in the box just there. You can plug that into your Sonic Pad. You can get 1080p, AI detection. You can save yourself the hassle as well if you already have a Sonic Pad. Would I buy a Sonic Pad for $200 AUD plus an SE? Or would I just go for a KE and plug the camera straight into the side of the USB port and then have this as a clipper screen? I'll probably say yes, but that said, because of the fact that that SE is 300 and I think it's $249, and the KE is $359 AUD at the moment. That's give or take Christmas sales and Black Friday sales at the time of filming. Like I said, you do get the ability to add other printers, up to 4 printers on the Sonic Pad. You do get AI technology, you do get the full BeshMed calibration, which is great. The ability to do all those sort of features, and a whole host of other features, and root access, fluid, mainsail, all those, treats and lovely bits and pieces. So the choice is up to you guys. Comment below, if you've bought the SE, do you have a Sonic Pad? Would you like to buy a Sonic Pad to add to the SE? I think it'd be a great addition if you only have the SE and you wanted Clipper access. I would probably go the Sonic, as you get more features than the KE version of the shortened down Clipper version, especially if you're going to add more printers. If you're going to buy another printer after your SE, obviously unless it's going to be a K1 or something like that that's running Clipper, or even if you have older printers and you run a Sonic Pad, or you don't have a Sonic Pad and get the SE, it's still a good addition. Would I buy the Sonic Pad with the SE if I could get another printer that had Clipper for around $400 to $500 AUD? Probably not. Why? Well, it gives you pretty much not going to have that much difference in speed and print quality as so much as to you would have more features, but the print quality and speed would probably stay around the same. So comment below, tell me what you think about that, and let's move on to the nozzle comparisons between the Spyder ceramic hot end, which they've used from the K1 with the dual fans. As you can see, it's calibrating, and the Spyder, the ceramic hot end they've used from the K1 series, and the Spyder hot end that we have in the SE series. So let's have a look at that. So as you can see here, this is the nozzle that you get with the SE. You can see the comparison here. Now, if we have a look between a standard size nozzle and the SE nozzle. So this is a standard size nozzle that you would normally get from an Ender 3, CR10, S1 Pro, CR10 Smart Pro, and a CR10 Smart and S1, and that would go in your heater block there. Now that was what used to be the high flow for the direct drive Sprite extruder, and that's a nozzle that goes in there for that. Now that is the hybrid nozzle. You can see the length difference that's in the SE, and then obviously you can see this is a K1 extruder. You can see, which is in the KE version, you can see the difference is quite significant. Now you could cut it and all these sort of things, but it's never going to be clean as clean a finish as what these nozzles would be doing that yourself. So these nozzles, keep in mind, they're not a nozzle like these nozzles are, like the triangular ones, or your stock standard nozzles there, that's a 0.4. They're, I would say, a hybrid nozzle, unlike any other of the hot ends that are in Creality that I know of. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. So keep in mind when you are getting a nozzle kit for this, that it's specifically for this type hot end here, which is, I've put on my all metal direct drive Sprite hot end. It's got a larger block, heating block, okay? And that allows for more hot filament and higher flow rates. And it needs, because of the thickness in the actual hot end core, the alloy block, it needs a slightly longer nozzle length. So that's what they've done. I'll post a photo of what that actually looks like under the SE as a comparison, compared to the KE, which is pop there. The KE has this type of nozzle, which is exactly the same as what you get in the K1 Series Speedy and the K1 Max. So that's quite a significant thing, and that's where I think what Creality have done is with the SE and KE, although they are great printers, I really do think they are good printers, but they have tried to create printers and utilizing parts from other older machines and excess parts from new machines as well. I think, you know, Creality as a company moving forward, I'm not Creality CEO or nothing like that. I'm just a consumer, but we're the most important people, I think. We're the buyers. So we have the biggest say in the market. I think really, you know, having things like the injection molding, where they've got holes in the side of the KE with no slots, they could have made that differently. Having a single Z-axis motor on the side instead of two motors with dual axis rods. The injection molding base, where you can't mount any printable parts or components to, makes it very difficult to mount accessories. And then having the exclusive SE type nozzle that's in between a standard nozzle and a K1 nozzle is quite different. So comment below what you think about that. One of the things you'll notice, it's a big thing on this one, the SE compared to the KE, is there is no filament detection sensor. Now, as you can see, they almost look identical, the SE and the KE. That's because pretty much they are. The only real difference between the KE and the SE is the fact that the X axis is running a completely different extrusion system hot end and nozzle and PCB board. And also, this is a roller carriage, and this is running on a top mounted lineal carriage. Outside of that, you've got a filament sensor and no filament sensor. Interestingly enough, on the back of the SE, where the KE is, they've used the exact same mounting injection molding frame, and there is an actual mount for the SE for the actual cable for the KE to route through the clip, which I'll show you shortly. All right, guys, as you can see, we've got the filament sensor run out cable here on the KE, and as you move across, you can see the injection molding plastic there, the single extrusion motor down the bottom. As you can see, it's doing its calibration. If you move across to the SE, you'll actually see the same mounting point for the filaments run out sensor cable. So that actually tells you you can actually get that. The only problem is you'd have to swap the mounts out, because the bracket on the KE, you can see, has a mounting point for the filament run out sensor. So that might be an issue when buying a filament sensor, how you would mount that. You may have to get this bracket from the KE. Like I said, the SE does have the same bracket for the filament run out sensor. And the cable goes in there and then would run down through and down through the injection molding, down through the aluminium extrusion pole, and down into the board itself. So that is the option for the filament run out sensor for the SE. And then that can be fed all the way down and run through into the base onto the board. So you can actually upgrade with a filament sensor. So those people who are concerned about not having a filament sensor on the SE, it is an optional add-on. Yes, probably should have been a mainstay. They should have included it. I mean, these days, a filament sensor is basic. In my understanding, today's market, I do understand Creality have, you know, they're targeting the entry-level enthusiast or hobbyist, which is great. But, you know, are they trying to save costs? Are they trying to use other parts? In my opinion, yes, they are a little bit, and I'll show you why in a second. But basically what I mean by that is You've got a Spider hot end. It's very hot in here in Melbourne, Australia, in the middle of summer, so sweating a little bit. But basically, you've got a Spider hot end here, which is exactly the same as the S1 Pro and the CR10. And then on the KE, you've got the exact same hot end as what's on the K1, which I find interesting. So you've basically got a Spider hot end and you've got a K1 hot end. You've got dual printing 420 fans and you've got a single 420 fan. Then you've got linear rails for a little bit more stability and reachability, and then you've got roller bearings here. The downside is that I think Creality, and I say this, you know, unwillingly, because I do love Creality, I have many Creality printers, is I do think Creality have shortcut a little bit here, and they're trying to save money on materials by using the same injection molding kit, to the point where on the side of the machines, you can't actually see it on the camera, but basically I'll show you, I'll take a photo of it and show you in a minute. On the camera, whoops, there goes on the filament, you can see the slots there on the side for what would be with the Type-C and SD card input. Now those holes in that injection molded base are actually empty and blank. So they haven't even taken the time to fill that in or use a different mold for the KE model versus the SE model. Now obviously with the SE model, it's running Marlin, it's got a LCD screen with dial. It is very nice, very smooth. But obviously, as you can see, we've got a Type-C cable running out the side, and it does have an SD card slot. And that's one of the interesting points. On top of that, you know, you've got a single drive Z-axis motor for the dual Z-axis rods as well, which I would have liked to see at least on the KE. If you're going to buy the KE, you're getting a K1 extruder hot end, which is a higher flow hot end, heats up faster, it can extrude more material, it can print more materials with a longer nozzle as well. So K1's got a rear towards the rail CR Touch, the SE still has a CR Touch. The bed leveling is okay, I would say it's great to not have adjustment wheels, which is awesome. But the thing is, they have included some injection molding spaces with an automatic sensor at the front on both of the beds, and that helps basically tell the machine and the board and the system with the CR Touch on both where the bed leveling is at, and it adjusts it accordingly. The only problem I find with that, if you do really want to tram and true your beds, you will have to shave down some of these spaces underneath the actual bed itself, and that's because there is no adjustment. The machine basically compensates for the height variation in the bed once it does the self-calibration and leveling system. So that is a little bit of an annoyance, to say that at least. And on top of that, you know, the little things they could have done was, one, the dual Z-axis motors, there isn't only a single one. There is the mounts on the sides of both of these machines on the top. It is mounted quite well. There are three, I think M6 or M4, M5 Allen key bolts that go up through the base of the frame into the aluminium side extrusion molded frame guide rails. But the base plate on the left-hand side is a molded injection type plastic, similar to what's on his frame base here, as well as the top rail as well. I think they probably could have done a little bit better than that. Also feel that the side railings as well on both sides are absolutely identical. The only difference is they've changed the front rail from the KE and the SE and made it a top linear rail. So I feel like with the right components, you could almost grab an SE and you could turn it into a KE just by getting yourself either a mount adapter for the KE extrusion system with the K1 style ceramic hot end, or you could even go the next route and get the linear rail. Whether that makes a huge difference, I don't really think it would. I did notice they've left little holes. There's not all the bolts even in the linear rail, which I quite find strange. I feel like that's another shortcut. On that one, the KE, let alone the SE, once again, they've used the same molding thing. They've just left open holes where the SD card and the Type-C input will be, which Creality, I hope, you know, realistically, you know, to me, that could have been improved. I mean, I understand there's complexities in the engineering side of it, making molds and mass producing these machines, but these little things are what we as consumers and the people in the industry pick up on. So that could have been done a lot better. Obviously with the accessories kit, very similar, slightly different USB sticks. That one, the SE has the SD card input USB, whereas the KE has a standard USB type 2. Both include a filament pack. Interestingly enough, with both of them, the SE comes with standard PLA, even though it runs at 250 millimeters a second, or so that up to 250 millimeters a second. I would say the recommended is about 150 to 200. The KE, interestingly enough, even though they both have lineal rods on the base, the KE comes with, funnily enough, tube grease. I don't know why, as we can see, metal grease. I don't know why the SE hasn't come with metal grease. Once again, I feel like they're shortchanging it. It's very strange. Even little things like the, I don't know if you can see this or not, but even little things like the little packs you get, even the nozzle cleaner, this one here is stuck to cardboard on the KE pack, and this one, funnily enough, is separate with its own little foam block. So just in case you prick your hands on something that's blunt. I don't know, it just seems all very odd. I don't know whether it's the production, packaging, quality control issue there. The other thing to point out, the other thing I want to talk about too is, even though they both can run, this one can run at 250 millimeters a second, this one up to 500, this SE includes the PLA from Creality. It's just the standard Creality CR PLA. And it's not a big thing, although it's just a sample. This one here includes the KE, has the Hyper PLA. So for a higher speed, better extrusion rate, and obviously a better detail, faster drying properties, and better print quality. Why? They both print at 250 millimeters a second. I feel like for the sample, they probably could have put that in there as well. I mean, it is just a sample, but mainly, not to have a filament sensor, not to include grease on this, and then to have this injection molded board at the bottom with open SD card slots and SE card slots. I feel that's a shortfall and a bit of a cheap, way of punching out machines just to be competitive and stay in the market between the launch of the new Ender 3 that's coming up, and they're also looking at 2024, the Ender 3 V3 Plus, I heard from Formnex, and also on top of that, a color dual filament system as well. So that'll be interesting to see mid 2024. But yeah, I really feel with Creality, they are good machines, don't get me wrong. If you've got an SE and you've got a KE, they do print well, they're great little machines. I do feel, however, though, that they did miss the mark a little bit just by not including a filament sensor, and with the KE, also, not even changing the base, is a bit of a quality control let down finish, I suppose you would say. To have empty card slots, I mean, we're talking a company that's back from the Ender 3 days, 8 years ago, to have an injection molded plastic base and you've just got empty holes where the SD card or USB card would be. I think Creality should do better than that. You are paying, an extra $150 for the KE, so there's no reason why they can't. And all they've done is basically put a K1 hot end on there and ceramic nozzle, to an extra fan and a slightly different modified injection molded casing. So other than that, with the filament sensor built in, you do get the textured style PEI sheet, which is great for those who like the textured PEI sheet for adhesion, whilst the SE has a smooth one. And obviously you get the built-in clipper as well. It is a shortened down version of the full clipper experience that you would get on open source clipper, or say for instance the Sonic Pad. But that said, it still runs clipper. It's a very functional screen. I'm not going to go through that, through the setup stage of that. I've just recalibrated the system, factory reset it. But yeah, so that's my take on that. I think Creality have done an exceptional job with both of these machines. But that said, still a lot of improvement that could have been done. I think they missed the mark a little bit, and I feel like they've reused some parts from, say, excess inventory, just to try and basically build two machines to stay ahead of the market or keep their name in the market in between the release of up and coming models. Comment below what you guys think, whether that sounds right to you guys. Alright guys, so basically that's the V3 series, the SE and the KE. Obviously there are some components that have been reused in both printers. There are some shortfalls, there are some good things and some bad things. Overall, I think both printers are quite good. The SE I think is a great printer for the price, being that it's an entry-level machine. Although you do get a high flow hot end from the Sprite Spider series. The fans and cooling system's quite good. It has some downfalls, but it does have some potential for some upgrades, but it is a great starting machine. The KE, I think, is a great machine also. It is, like I said, almost identical, except it runs Clipper. It has a filament sensor and a higher ceramic and faster speed hot end with a dual fan cooling system. Overall, they're both great printers. I think Creality obviously have tried to take some shortcuts. I hate to say that, but I think they have here. But that said, for the price that you pay, I don't think you can get much better than these two printers here, especially in the market today. So if you like what you're seeing, give me a thumbs up, give me a like. Comment below if there's anything I missed, anything you want to discuss, anything you want to see in the future. Have you got an SE? Have you got a KE? Or have you got a Sonic pad connected to the SE? That's one thing that is interesting. If you have, comment below. Be interested to see. Anyway, like guys, subscribe. I pay for both these printers out of my own hard-earned money. I also rebuild motorcycles, so I've got some videos coming up for that. I've got some custom motorcycles. And my theory is, if you can't ride them, rebuild them. And whilst you're sitting around, why not print them? So that's it for me. That's the end of 3v3 SE and KE overview. I'm Chris. Enjoy, like and subscribe. I'm out.